What do we know about wheels we skate on every day? They're round in most cases. They come in all the different colors. There are harder wheels, there are softer wheels, and the hardness index of the wheel is as useless as an ice cream cone in Arctica. So, what's wrong with it? You see, we tend to oversimplify comparison between A and B, relying on a single number that encompasses all the differences. That's our nature after all. Seek an easy answer instead of diving deep into details. Instead, let's start all over again and list all the things that we care about in wheels. Shall we? So, why do wheels differ from each other? Basically, there are two components: the chemistry and the structure of the wheel. Chemistry is pretty straightforward. You mix the same components in different proportions and you get different outcome. The structure is a little bit more difficult though. Before we dive any deeper and start a holy war about which wheels are better or worse, let's first understand what we're dealing with. What is a hardness index of the wheel? The hardness index is just an industrial measurement which is common to many industries, and it just defines how strong an object or a body would resist a deformation before it breaks. Basically, how much force you need to apply to squeeze an object. You see, the wheel doesn't always roll perpendicular to the ground. In fact, as we push, the angle between ground and the wheel changes all the time, so as the forces that act on the rubber and on the core. The standard wheel consists of a rigid plastic core that holds the bearings, the urethane that does the roll, and additionally the core itself has a plastic rib that enhances the bond. When you're rolling with the wheel perpendicular to the ground, the core itself takes a huge load from the ground and provides additional resistance. But as the wheel leans to the side, urethane has to perform more and more. When we measure the hardness index of the wheel, we measure just a resistance to a force from a particular direction. But the problem is, when we skate, our wheels are a subject of resistance of the forces from different directions. When you start rolling forward, you have a wheel being perpendicular to the ground, and that's where the most of the hardness is. But as you push to the side, as your skate leans more, the forces are starting to work less and less towards the core and more towards the side, or basically towards your resin. And as you lean even higher, as you lean even more, the less and less resistance comes from the wheel. So basically your hardness index during the push fluctuates from harder to softer. The other point is, in this position, a lot of hardness comes from the core itself, while in this position, lots of the hardness comes from the polyurethane the wheel is made from. And I bet these two substances, they have slightly different properties at least. Speaking of which, the cores themselves, they come in all shapes and sizes, starting from the ones with lots of plastic and not so much urethane, which is just coming on buying new wheels faster, and to the ones with really tiny core, which last much longer, but these ones, they do not like high speeds. What else impacts the wheel's performance? Its profile. Take the same urethane formula, but mold it into a different shape and you get absolutely different performance. By this moment, you should understand that these three parameters, the urethane formula, the core construction and the wheel profile, are way more important than just some single silly number. Yet manufacturers, they give you just that, a number. And dishonest online sellers, they will boast about this number exponentially to its value, which is a total nonsense. Speaking of which, different types of wheels are made for different purposes. For example, free skate wheels like hyper-concrete pedal grip or undercover teams, they are designed as being the most universal wheels that are good for all the different skating disciplines. They provide a solid grip, they provide a comfortable ride, and they last really long. Really long, unlike wheels for slides. Wheels for slides are made with the precision in keeping the traction. When you slide, the last thing you want to have is inconsistent grip. So these wheels, they are good at and provide the constant amount of grip, either you slide fast or if you are sliding really slow and almost coming to the full stop. But the chances are they're highly specific, and chances are, because of your lack of skill, you would probably square them faster than you will use them to their core. Another type of wheel is wheel for slalom. Again, highly specific application, because these wheels are designed to withstand enormous pressure at really sharp angles. Because when you slalom, you put your whole load on one wheel, and moreover, what's more, you tend to bend this wheel with all that weight while spinning or jumping or going sideways. Last but not least are Instagram wheels, which are just that. They're really good for making cool videos on Instagram, but they are not really good for anything else. And out of those wheels, I do not recommend you try cheap Chinese ones. If you want to make cool shots, just buy something like luminous wheels or Photon from Powerslide. Thanks for watching.